Welcome to BamBam-O-Rama.
Welcome to BamBam-O-Rama. We got the schmeats.
We got the schmeats.
And welcome to another episode of BamBam-O-Rama. As always, I am your host, Adrian Estrada.
I'm the guest host, Jackson Grist. Also, the assistant to the producer of the BamBam-O-Rama podcast.
It's about time you do some work. So we've got a very, very special episode today. Our first official guest. Yes, we know we've had other people here and helping and working, but it was really just kind of chatting. Today, we've got Louie from Louie the Liars.
Yo.
How you doing, Louie?
I'm okay.
All right.
It's a nice day outside.
It is really nice outside. If we planned ahead, we might have recorded this outside.
Oh, yeah. Maybe the birds, though.
That's true. We've had bird.
Yeah, it actually kind of feels nice, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Whenever they're chirping around and stuff. But, you know.
It has been way too hot around here lately, though.
It has been. It's kind of nice. It's cooling off. I think it's going to get a little hotter this afternoon and tomorrow, but it's going to chill out soon. So, I hope.
Yeah, me too.
You guys got to do a show last night?
Yeah.
So first off, you guys both did great. In
Thank you.
case you didn't have the opportunity to catch that show, you missed out. But the good news is both of these folks right here, these lovely two gentlemen, have their stuff online. We're going to have those links in the description here. So if you want to catch that, Louie the Liars and, of course, Jackson Lost Cause.
Yep. After
that being said, how do you feel about last night's show?
Dude, I was like stoked on it. Thanks for letting me use your guitar.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
But like I was acoustic, so it was just like me by myself. I don't mind playing those, but I much always prefer playing with the rest of the band.
So what is your background? Why did you start music? And what's your favorite project that you've done?
See, I got really into guitar or music. Really, what really got me into music first of all was like my parents always were playing it. Like, you know, my parents obviously Mexican, and most of the time, when my aunts and my other uncles were always playing like Hispanic music, you know, like Tejano and stuff.
Tejano and mariachi.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But my parents didn't when I was younger. Like my parents listened to like the Eagles, like waking up on Saturday morning because they're cleaning, you know, that kind of, you know what it is when you're Mexican, you wake up to the Santa Fabuloso and music playing on a Saturday when you're like a little kid.
It's very awakening.
Yeah,
it's
you're like,
salsa maple.
It's 9 o'clock now and my mom's probably been up for 3 hours at this point, but she was always listening to like the Bee Gees or like the Eagles or Elvis or like, you know, things like that. So I got like really into like Americana stuff, you know, like, and my dad, who is a big influence on me too, was like Bob Seger and like Leif Garrett and ABBA and like Don Henley and, you know, Tom Petty, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really like listen to Hispanic music or Tejano or any of that until we were like, you know, at family parties and stuff. So that's what got me like really into it. And then I had an uncle and my brother were like obsessed with Elvis. They just like thought Elvis was the shit. And I remember like watching his movies when I was a kid and thinking like, this has got to be the coolest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Especially because like around that time I also saw Grease. And I was like, oh, they're just pretending to be Elvis. Like, that's the dude, right?
They really are, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's the dude. And so I've got, like, really into just music in general that way. And then I started actually playing an instrument when I hit, like, 7th grade, I think.
Was guitar your first instrument?
No, bass was. Bass was because I got really into punk rock around that time when I hit 7th grade. Got really into like Black Flag and stuff like that. And then I found this magical band called Blink-182 at that time. And I was like, these dudes are super sick. They're like, don't take nothing serious just like I do. And then I was like, I want to play an instrument because I want to play their songs. And I looked at the guitar and I looked at the bass and I was like, I'm going to play bass because that seems easier because it doesn't have as much strings, right? And then...
Little did you know, bass,
yeah.
bass is, in my opinion, bass is harder than guitar.
Dude, it really can be, especially with like Blink songs because like around 7th grade, I met this kid named Tim who showed me how to read tabs for the first time and how to tune something. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn Carousel because that's like one of my favorite songs. Then I looked at the tabs and I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no fucking way I could play this. And so, you know, you just keep learning, and then like on Enema of the State, those bass lines were just like wild to me because I was like, and then even around the time, even still now, not a lot of bass players play like that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, at least in that kind of music, they don't play like, even in like a lot of pop punk, especially back then, they don't play like he does.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I first learned like bass chords too, like holding more than one string down and shit like that.
Which is a technique not a lot of bassists really
Yeah,
get into.
and I think he did stuff like that because there's only one guitar player. They only had Tom.
Yeah.
So like he was like kind of trying to make it sound more beefy and shit.
Did they always? I know at one point Blink-182 for live shows added a fourth guitar.
I don't think they did. I think
didn't
you're
at the
thinking
beginning?
Green Day. Green Day for in the beat, but in the first two, because like what I liked about them too is they never cared if they were like any good. They just like to go up there and play, which is kind of like, I mean, I don't want to suck, but like I like in my head is like I don't go up there thinking I'm like fucking Billy Corgan when I play, or I don't think I'm like cool. It's just fun, man. It's just like, you know what I mean? So I go up there and I make my stupid jokes and all that shit.
So with that, is Louie and the Liars your favorite project that you've ever been?
As of now, yeah, dude, I'm like super stoked on it. Like, when we first did our first EP, that one was cool, but like I pretty much kind of ran the show. I was like, because I made all the demos myself with Marcus, and I was like, this is what you're playing. This is how it's gonna go.
Right.
And then as the band went on and I started writing newer songs, I was like, I started getting writer's block, and I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, and I was like, oh wait, I got like 4 other people that I can talk to about this, right?
Right.
So I started showing them these songs, and they started just, okay, well, we'll do this here and we'll do that there. And I was like, oh, that's so much easier.
How did you come across the guys you put together for Louie and the Liars?
Okay, so I've always known Marcus. You know Marcus.
Yeah,
you know.
I've known Marcus since high school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because y'all both lived in Andrews, right? Yeah, I met Marcus a long time ago. I was doing my first serious band when I was still in high school, and it was called Most Beautiful Murder. We were like a screamo shit band.
I remember y'all.
Yeah.
I remember y'all coming out.
We took ourselves way too serious, dude.
It was fun. I thought all the music back then was fun.
It was
I
cool,
really
but
enjoyed
like
it.
I feel like I think we took ourselves way too serious. So I met him because he played in an emo band, Shot Down in Left Field, and I just thought they were like the bee's knees. I thought they were like so sick, and that's when I first met him. And he was, you know, Marcus is real shy. He doesn't like talk to a lot of people, especially when you first meet him, but we played with each other enough to where we finally actually became friends, and I wanted to start demoing Louie and the Liars stuff, and so the first person I called was Marcus. And then Brian, our drummer, I met him at the Pine Box, and he played drums for this band called Moving Forward while I was playing in a band called Run for Cover. And then
Interesting enough, we always, me, you, and Moving Forward played so many shows together
all the time,
at
all the
Pine
time.
Box. It
Yeah,
was insane.
It was sick. It was like really cool.
Yeah.
And then I ended up not being in Run for Cover anymore, and then they needed a bass player. Moving Forward did, and that's when I met Andy and Brian. Andy also plays guitar in Louie and the Liars, but that's how I met those two. We just like, you just click with people sometimes, and those are 2 of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
I gotta say, Andy is one of the most kindest,
Oh,
genuinely
dude, he's
nicest
so,
people
yeah,
I've
he
ever
is
met.
so sweet,
Yeah.
so sweet, and he's like real funny. And then with Lily, she joined the band because there was someone that she used to be friends with that was originally playing bass for me, and he had to quit, or he chose to quit because he wanted to lead he started a hardcore band where he was like lead vocalist.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, at least you're honest with me, you know, like, because he told me he wanted to do something. I was like, yeah, dude, like, if you ever feel like that wants to be your main focus, just let me know, so that way I could just hire someone else. Like, we're older now, you know, like, we could be mature about this. If you don't want to be in my band, I don't, like, it doesn't got to be weird, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so
that's breaking up, and that's why he feels weird about it.
It is awkward.
It can be at first, you know. And so he left, and then I was looking at a few other people, but then Lily actually messaged me on Instagram, and because she was friends with him, and she was like, I heard you're looking for a bass player. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And she goes, stop looking because you found one, is what she told me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so rock star.
Yeah, and I
fucking
was like, my first thing was, Lily, she's played bass in a lot of bands, and she always plays in like super heavy shit. Like Lily always played in like almost death metal shit. And so I was like, you've heard us before, right, Lily? Like, we are not a heavy
I remember
band.
back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, no, stop looking. And I was like, okay. And then she worked out. And then Marcus originally didn't play for us. He did a couple shows until Andy joined, and then Andy had his son, and so he had to step away for a little bit. So Marcus started like filling in for shows, and Marcus was like, I'm down to keep playing if when Andy comes back. And Andy, like a couple days before I even brought it up to the rest of the band, he was like, I'm cool if Marcus stays when I come back. And I was like, this is fucking perfect. Like, this is exactly,
yeah.
I was like, cool, dude, because that's exactly what I want. Like, because when we record, there's always like 3 guitars on the tracks anyway, so it worked out perfectly that way.
It always ends up being that way. I remember explaining to someone who'd never been in the studio. I was telling them about the last time I went and recorded. I was like, I think there was one song I laid four guitars down.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? Why? And I was like, I don't know.
It sounds beefy, dude.
It sounds beefy, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It's what it needed. I didn't know I needed it because I was just doing shit in my bedroom by myself for forever. And then when we got in the studio, I was like, oh, this needs this.
Yeah, and see, Marcus was always like, when I first started recording with him, he's the one that was always like, we need at least 3 guitars on this because like it helps the rhythm a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. And what's sick is like, we've played a few shows finally with both of them, and I didn't know this, but like Marcus had called Andy and like they worked out parts over the phone. So like,
did they really?
Yeah. So the
That's
first,
fucking cool.
yeah. So the first time we all practiced all together and they were playing, I was like, whoa, like it sounded so much better with those two, like, because they even added leads that aren't on the EP, so they could both do something. So like someone just didn't like just stand there playing the power chords to my acoustic chords, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it just sounded so good.
So when you laid down on the studio tracks, when you laid down the 3 guitars, did Marcus add I know you added Marcus later.
Yeah.
As a member, but like originally, did he add the 3rd guitar or did you or Andy?
It was me
It
that
was you?
did the rhythms, yeah,
Okay.
at first. And then, yeah, it was always just me, and Marcus was just always there to tell me I was off time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Man, that's not good enough.
Yeah, that's not good, dude.
There's always got to be somebody that comes in.
Yeah, Marcus has got like such a good ear with shit like that. Like he's got such a good ear that like when we were mixing Snake Oil, the newest one, he would send me stuff and he'd be like, I changed the EQ or I changed this on the guitar, and I'm like, it sounds the same to me, dude.
Right.
Like I trust you. Like I don't have an ear like that. I just know if something sounds pretty much clean or distorted, that's it. Like,
Right.
But he's really good at it.
I want to throw this in there real quick while we're talking about Marcus still. One time, do you remember this? When I was in Austin, you were here.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Austin. I hung out with Marcus. We were drinking up at like Little Woodrow's. And at one point, he was talking about recording your album. And I was like, do me a favor. Call Louie and tell him you deleted everything.
Yes, I do remember that.
he called.
It
he's
sucked
like,
because I was like drunk too. I was like kind of hammered. Who was I with? I think I was with Rick or something like that.
So funny.
I was like either with Rick or Mitch, and like I was like pretty hammered. I was like, that sucks. I not once did I get mad. I was just like, oh man, I gotta do this all over again. Yeah, I remember that. That's really funny though. It's funny because it didn't happen. Like
Right,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. It's funny if it was true, that would have been
that would
depressing.
yeah. But yeah, dude, I was pretty drunk at that time. I think I was watching a fight like at Torino somewhere, like Torino's some UFC fight,
You might have been.
and I was getting pretty lit. Yeah, which happens sometimes, especially when I'm watching UFC fights. I just get so excited.
I know. So you're super into UFC.
Yeah,
Aside from music, we know you're in MMA.
yeah.
Give us a quick lowdown on your favorite fighters and why Joe Rogan told you that they are.
That's funny because he has a lot of opinions, especially when it comes to MMA fighters. That I kind of, well, actually, specifically when it comes to MMA fighters, I kind of like.
Do you think that because you eat all of his supplements that you're now infected with whatever he's infected with?
It's what gave me scoliosis.
But get bald, and angry.
But I'm gonna get like super ripped with sleeve tattoos.
Right. Yeah, your kick is gonna be fucking phenomenal.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna have like a 72-inch vertical. But I've always been a really big fan of Nate Diaz. We have a friend Rick that's like always likes MMA like I do. He always gives me shit about just loving Nate Diaz. But the thing is like I know Nate Diaz isn't the most skilled fighter ever. It's his attitude that I like so much because he reminds me of like kids that I grew up with, like kids like when I was like 13, like these hood ass like little like other Mexican kids that would like try to fight adults sometimes, you know, like those like just bad kids, and they weren't ever scared of anything when we were younger, and he reminds me of those kids. Like that dude probably grew up pretty similar to the way they did because, you know, I wasn't like poor or nothing, but I was always like pretty hood adjacent, you know, so they grew up pretty similar, like fighting all the time and not having a lot of money. And so it just kind of, when I found him and his brother Nick, it just kind of like, I don't know, just pulled at me because like, oh dude, I know kids like that, you know. It's because he doesn't care. He's not scared of anything. He'll fight someone in a parking lot, which isn't really good because he's like a pro athlete, but like he would literally fight anyone in a parking lot because he don't care, you know.
Right.
And another one I like is Chael Sonnen because I think he's the best shit talker ever, even in my opinion better than Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is funny, but Chael Sonnen, he's
pretty quick.
Yeah, and he could have been a professional wrestler with the kind of shit that he talks. Like he would have this thing where he was like, when you're the best damn fighter in the world, they don't call you the best, they call you Chael Sonnen. Like shit like that is what he would say.
That's funny.
Yeah, like he's hilarious. And there was another one where he's like,
wait, he really said that?
Yeah,
he stole our line.
Damn.
Oh well, this is like old. This was like I don't know when it happened, but he doesn't fight anymore.
If it was after 2011, it's our line.
I don't know if it was after.
Just messing around.
But he's like retired now. He's like long since retired. But he also has one where he's like, I'm a fighter's lament and the women's regret. Like he just like says such funny shit all the time. He was great.
He is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But that's the fun thing about just competitors in general is if you only like the best, why are you watching anything?
Yeah, right. It's like, and no shade, but it's like being a Patriots fan while Tom Brady was the quarterback. Like, of course they're gonna fucking win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I 100 times tell you, I'm into wrestling. When I talk about wrestling, I'll always say, "This is the best wrestler in the world. This is my favorite wrestler."
Yeah,
they're always two different.
Yeah,
people.
there always are. Yeah. Like I think John Jones is arguably the best fighter, MMA fighter in the world. Yeah. But like he's not my favorite.
Right.
Nate Diaz is my favorite.
Right.
You know.
Just makes total sense.
Yeah. I mean that's what sports and competition's all about.
Yeah. It's especially when it comes to like just competition in general, because the best like athlete doesn't always win, and like the best team doesn't always win. The best team is even more true. But yes, the best athlete doesn't always win, especially in combat sports. Like like it takes just one shot.
That's why they also continuously train after they keep winning.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know that.
Yeah, it just takes like everyone's got a puncher's shot. You know what I mean? And like all it takes is one slip up, or you're getting choked out or tapped out. You know.
Takes one good hit in the head, one good slip, you're good.
Yeah, you're done. Like anybody could be anybody on pretty much any day.
Who was it back in the day that fucking he was up there high on the ranks, people were calling him the best. He broke his own leg when he kicked somebody.
Anderson Silva.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's up there too. He's up there with one of the GOATs. But yeah, he was fighting Chris Weidman. Actually, I was watching that and Brian and Andy were at my house like years ago when I was still in Moving Forward, he was fighting Chris Weidman. And he checked his kick and checked it perfectly. It was just like a freak accident. Just snapped his leg right in half, dude.
It was nuts.
Yeah, it was bad, dude.
I remember seeing I didn't watch it because I don't watch those live very often, but I saw the clip afterwards.
Yeah. What's worse is he took a step on it, too. Like, he kicked it, stepped back to step on his foot, and his fucking, like, his shin just, like...
It was rough. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. It was bad.
You brought up moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So, kind of bringing back, back into the music thing. You kind of are known for coming up with at least a few band names that actually were used, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, do you ever feel like it was just luck, or do you have like some confidence in you that when you made those names, you're like, that's it. That's the cherry on top.
I think it's just luck, man. Like,
well, I mean, where do you, if that's the case, then why are these names being used?
I just do what I think sounds cool.
I don't think it's luck, man. I think you got some kind of gift when it comes to it. Like, you know how to name a band.
Yeah, I just
really
think some things just sound cool. Like, I never got the chance to do this, but I always wanted to start a punk band, like an old school, like Black Flag punk band called the Pussyfoots. I think that would sound so sick. I think that would be really cool. But I don't know, man. I didn't come up with moving forward, but I have come up with like.
Well, I wasn't suggesting that, but it just reminded me that
Yeah, like that. You were doing one with what was his name? Whit. I remember you and Whit were kind of getting together, and I came up with a name for y'all, and it was When We Left Earth.
When We Left Earth, I do remember this because we were kind of solidified with the original band name that they had, Oh Infamous City.
Yeah.
And you dropped that, and Whit came to me, and he was like, Louie just said this would be a great name for us, When We Left Earth, and I was like, fuck, dude. I
think that'd be a cool name, especially because y'all were doing they were doing kind of like spacey kind of like stuff.
We were a space rock screamo band, kind of like, so it really made sense.
And then and also Whit was like at the time, I don't know if he is anymore, was like still pretty Christian.
Yeah. And
so I knew for him it would hold like another like whole different like two meanings, So like When We Left Earth, I was like, that would sound really sick.
It would have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't go with that band name. But we wanted to. Me and Whit really wanted to. I don't remember if it was just we were so established as Oh Infamous City that we stuck with it, or maybe other members in the band didn't want to change. I don't remember what it was.
That was a cool name.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool name.
You also were in a band before Louie and the Liars.
The Midnight Society.
Midnight Society. That's one of my favorite band names you ever came up with.
Thanks,
I mean, I know it's a callback to a Nickelodeon show, but fucking killer.
Thanks, dude. Everyone was like stoked on that name, especially when like we first started playing, and they were like, "What's y'all's band name?" We're like the Midnight Society, and they were like, "That is so sick."
Yeah, like.
And I was like,
so
thanks, dude. Like I came up with that because like I had just gone through like a really bad breakup, so I wasn't like sleeping at all. Mm-hmm. And I was writing all these songs like super late, and I just have the TV on. You're just like writing, you have the TV on, and like Are You Afraid of the Dark would come on sometimes, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna stop and watch this fucking episode because like I love these, And then we were trying to come up with names. Another one we pitched when that band just started was called Speakeasy, and I was like, that's cool, but like what about the Midnight Society? And they were all like, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And then we ended up naming the EP Speakeasy. But but everyone was like so stoked on that. Like, man, that's a cool name. And like we had all these plans too before we broke up that we were gonna put like Roman numeral 12 on like everything, on like T-shirts and all that shit. We're like, that's gonna be real cool. I think like having a logo for your band is like kind of important.
It can make a deal or not.
It can. Does Louie and the Liars have a logo?
Yeah, we do. It's just your fingers crossed.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have it on our shirts. It says The Losing Kind in the back on scroll, and it's a hand.
Nice.
Jackson's Lost Causes. Remember that old David Hasselhoff where he was like eating a hamburger? It's a meme of that, but it's Jackson's face superimposed onto it.
Actually, I always wanted a logo for Jackson.
I'd wear that shirt.
Right? I always wanted a logo for Jackson's Lost Cause. I never came up with it until I came up with this tattoo idea.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think the logo we're using is actually not the tattoo drawing, but it's like using the realistic version.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, if you want to use that, yeah.
It's either way.
It's just a graphic I made for it.
I like the graphic you made.
If you want to keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Have you seen that graphic we're talking about?
No, but I would love to.
It's on my Instagram.
Oh, well, then I may have seen it, but I'll look at it again.
Or not my Instagram, but the JLC.
Yeah.
Well, What band name would you give us three?
Yeah.
If we were all three in a band.
Okay. Well, what kind of music do you think we play?
I think that's up to
That's
you.
what matters the most.
Well, no. Let's all decide what kind of music we would play. Let's see. Louie's got a lot of rock and punk rock influence. You like punk rock. You like old school punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm known for not liking punk rock in West Texas, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Because I fucking love punk rock.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think everyone just assumes that, like, not in a bad way, but like you're better than that. Because you like, you know, you're almost kind of classically trained in music, so you'd assume like someone that like knows like notes and keys and all that shit
Right.
wouldn't like listening to like Suicidal Tendencies
they're
yelling
so
for
good.
a Pepsi, like yelling for a Pepsi. You would just assume he wouldn't
Well,
want
since
that.
you guys have difficulty with 4 strings, I'll take over the bass.
Yeah, right, yeah.
so you're bait. So I feel like we would be an old school punk rock. Gutter.
Yeah.
Gutter
Oh,
punk.
a
yeah.
gutter punk band would be cool. See, I mentioned the Pussyfoots earlier, but we could do better. Like if
All
we
right.
started one. So as a gutter punk band out of West Texas, you got to do something regional with that, right? So maybe what about like Dirt and Oil?
Dirt and Oil's pretty good.
Or
I
so.
like that.
Yeah, or like oh, you know what would be sick actually? Caliche.
Caliche.
Yeah.
We literally had the Caliche pit around the corner from the house when we were kids. We
Yeah,
playing,
see?
Yeah.
Caliche would be sick
I
actually.
think that's a good one.
I think that would
we
be
had
cool.
a bike path made out of it. 'Cause it
So,
was so
y'all
good.
heard it here. Wait for the EP Caliche coming out in December. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
how long
right.
is it going to take to write a gutter punk album?
I don't know. A good one.
5-6 days.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it just depends, right?
Yeah.
Depends on how they mesh, and that's what's fun about finding people is the meshing part, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes the real relationship.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to every band I've been in has meshed pretty well.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Just if you don't mesh with them musically doesn't mean you don't mesh with them personally.
Right.
Personally.
Well, we
yeah.
have that. We've tried to do bands a couple times.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. I don't remember if it was a musical problem, if it was a timing issue, what it
Yeah,
was.
It just didn't work
It just
out.
didn't work, but we're still really good friends.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing that, you were like, "What key is this song?"
Right.
I was like, "I don't know,
I
dude.
don't know.
Like, I don't know that shit. Like, I don't know what key this is. I don't know the fucking BPMs. It just
Right.
fucking. This sounds cool, you know?
It was good, and that was good music. Well, some of those songs did end up being Midnight Society songs.
Yeah,
didn't they?
yeah. Like the beginnings of them ended up like it was. I was kind of fucking with them when me and you tried to start a band, and then like years later when I was like, I want to start a band now and play guitar because I had always played bass. Because even with us, I was trying to play guitar. I had always been trying to play guitar in a band because I had always just played bass and I really wanted to play guitar. And so, yeah, a couple years later when I got back to what it really was is there was enough people available, like Matt and Christian and Oscar were all available and they all played those separate instruments. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, let's do it. And then I ended up finishing some of them. Like I had like the music and little patterns that, when me and you first started to get together, I had like the little chord progressions and stuff like that. That was a cool band. That stuff is still on Bandcamp, actually. Yeah, the Midnight Society. I actually talked to Matt the other day, and he was like, should we try to get this up on Spotify? And I was like, yeah, man, it'd be cool.
It can't hurt.
Yeah. I mean, we have no intention on ever being a band again, but like...
I mean, if you got the tracks,
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, it was fun. And the guy who ended up, like, recording us and, like, mixing and mastering us was Philip Odom, who, like, went on to move to Philadelphia for a while and produced bands like Say Anything. Like he like recorded Say Anything and fucking Bouncing Souls and shit like that. And like we just did it with him at Bad Wolf Studios in Austin. Like then like fucking 2 years later he's like, oh, I'm on a Say Anything record now. I was like, fuck, that's cool. Like that is so cool.
That makes me think of something else I want to ask you. I know Marcus produced the first 2 EPs.
Mm-hmm.
If you had the opportunity to invite anyone in the studio to be the producer of the next Louie and Liars album, who would it be?
Like, are we talking like
You can pick anybody.
dream-wise or realistically?
Give me both.
See, dream-wise, I have a few. Mark Hoppus always seems to do really good.
I knew you were going to say
producing.
Marcus.
Because he did Commit This to Memory and My
Such a good
Dinosaur
album.
Life. Like he did a bunch of really good stuff. Billy Corgan, I think, would be cool too. But
think
I
Billy
would,
Corgan would.
I'd be scared because I'd feel like any song I showed him, he'd be like ass. Like that sucks.
I think Billy Corgan would be a great producer because he's kind of outside of the. I know you're not. Louie the Liars is not punk rock. What kind of music would you say?
I don't even know. I just tell people rock music.
It's rock music,
Yeah,
but
like
it is
rock
still
and
punk
roll.
influence.
Yeah, it's
because-
very heavily punk influenced.
So I think having his influence get in there on
Yeah,
on the music would come in to make something interesting.
Yeah, he would do real good. I would, like I said, I'd just be scared that every song I showed him, he'd be like, "That was terrible,
I
Louie."
doubt that. I doubt that.
Like that was.
I think
that
he'd
was
dig it.
horrible.
Why would he do it?
That's because he's like so cool. He's like way cooler.
So exactly. Why he's cool.
Yeah, he's just. I
He
don't
wouldn't
know,
do
man.
that.
I have this like thing in my head that like if anyone knows anything, they don't like my band. Like that's just like how I have it in my head. And there's like a lot of people that I know, especially like a lot of my musician friends, like you, and they always tell me, "No, dude, like that was cool, man. You did a good job." But like I have this stupid weird thing in my head that is like, "Oh, if you're good at music, you don't like me. Like
I get
you
that
don't like
way.
us."
I think
you know.
I think that's unfortunately something that a majority of us artists deal with. Is we need a hype man to be
Yeah,
our friend because
yeah,
we're so
kinda.
depressed and down on ourselves. Like
Yeah.
we can write a song that honestly is amazing and would be a hit as big as a T-Swift hit,
Yeah.
but we're gonna think it's garbage.
Yeah.
because we're nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Like anytime someone like even as strangers where like when we play shows and they're like, "Oh, you guys did really good," or "You're on Spotify," or whatever. The first thing I think in my head is I'm like, "Oh, they're polite." Like, I don't think like, yeah, they
they're
like,
polite.
yeah. I don't think like, yeah, that's right. I did such a good job. We did such a good job. I just, oh, what a polite person. Like is what I think. I'm never like, I just don't. I don't know. I just don't see myself that way. I joke around about it sometimes, you know, but I think also no one thinks they're that good unless there's someone like Taylor Swift or like Mariah Carey or Beyonce or.
I think they also only get to like thinking that they're that good after so many years of success.
Yeah, I guess that's
I
true.
don't think Taylor Swift thought she was good
Yeah.
when she first started.
Yeah, she probably thought. Yeah, she probably thought for a while like this is gonna end sometime soon. You know.
Now she's honestly,
Dude.
from what I understand, I haven't gone to the show. The tickets are way too much for me. But everything I've heard, this show that she's putting on right now is amazingly well produced, and she had so much to do with putting it together.
Paul Stanley from Kiss said like it was one of the best shows he'd ever seen in his life.
That's still her, like, still learning and getting there.
Yeah.
Like, and being like, now she knows this is going to work. This is what my fans want to see.
Yeah.
And if there's a producer that's like, nah, Taylor,
Yeah.
she's going to be like, shut the fuck
Shut up.
and get out
Yeah.
of my way because I know.
I know now.
Because, yeah, she's
and
got there.
dude, and plus she's just good, dude. Like, I'm a real big fan of like lyrical content. Like that's one of my things, and her lyrics are so.
Her lyrics
good.
are really good, yeah.
They really are. Like, they're so like clever with her turns of phrases and stuff like that. Like my favorite song she has is that Style song. That's just such a good
one is
song.
good.
Like it tells such a good story. But like the chorus, what was it? Like you got that James Dean daydream look in your eyes,
Yep.
and I got that red lip classic look that you like. Like that's such a good lyric.
It really is.
You know, it's cool.
You come up. You got a lot in your pocket, though. You've got really good lyrics
Oh,
on
dude,
in your songs.
Thank you. I try, but sometimes I feel like I'm trying too hard to be poetic. Like,
It's tough, you know. I
Yeah.
honestly, I hate that negative turn of phrase of you're trying too hard or I'm trying too hard.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, we're just trying to do what we want to do.
yeah, that's
Like,
true.
And I mean, sometimes we're gonna come up with something that's easy. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I've just woken up and been like, "Oh, this lyric's good. It's genius. I need to use it." And then sometimes I sit there for hours trying to come up with one line.
Yeah,
that
I-
makes sense for what
I
I'm
do
trying
that
to convey.
sometimes too. Yeah,
So it just depends.
I do that sometimes too. Where I usually that happens most of the time when it comes to second verses. Like I'll
Yeah.
pound out like a strong first verse and then a chorus, and I'm like.
That's fucking true.
Yeah,
That's fucking
because
true.
like the first one, in my opinion, I think like just works. And like, how do you make the second verse as good, if not better? Because you don't want it to be shittier, you know. And then you start thinking, well, maybe I should make that my second verse. But then you're like, oh, but like that kind of starts the song. So I stress out about it sometimes. That's why I like having the Liars so much, is because I run shit by them when I'm like, I have this going on, and they'll start like writing their parts. And it's when they start like adding their thing, like Brian will play drums a little different than I heard in my head, or like Andy and Marcus will play different leads than I heard in my head, or Lily will play the higher notes in the verse instead of the lower notes, of the roots. And then I'm like, oh shit, well, that's what gets me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if they're going to play it like this, I can do this or that, like lyrically. So It makes it so much easier with them. I don't know what I was thinking that I was just going to be able, like when I did the first EP, I was just, you play this is how the song goes, this is how it goes. And I don't know what I was thinking that I could maybe keep that up.
We get there, and I think no matter what, because I do that. Jackson's Lost Cause is essentially my project. But then I don't know how many times I've gotten with the drummer and a bassist. It's always different for me, or even getting into the studio and then something changes immediately once something works in. I'm like, oh yeah, this chord's not working, or I need to change the melody, or such and such.
Yeah, it makes it easier, especially too because like I think like they're such good musicians. Like I say it jokingly, but I mean it. Is like I surrounded myself with musicians that are all better than me. Like I say that all the time about them. I'm like, they're all better than me at what they do than I am at what I do, and so like it makes things a lot easier for me. Like so much more easy, because like especially someone like Marcus and Andy are so good at guitar.
They really, those two guys are
and
talented.
I'm just like a rhythm dude. Like I just play the rhythms, but they're just like, and they're both just so good. It's wild how you could be that good. I don't know. I was thinking the same thing too when you were playing yesterday about you, when you were like doing the I forget what song it is, but the way you strum and like do the pull-offs while you're strumming to like make like a second, to make like a lead in the guitar while you're doing it.
That's a couple skate.
Yeah, I was like, God, dude, that's so cool, because I don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't like do string pull-offs while I'm playing rhythms. That's just not how my brain works. Especially now, I'm like, oh, Marcus or Andy will figure out the lead part, But it's really cool that you do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think it's really sick. Because there's another guy that does that a lot. That Dashboard Confessional. That guy does that.
He does a lot of
pretty
that stuff
cleverly as well. And I've tried it before, because like I tried that stuff, and I can do simple shit. Like I can like pull off with my ring finger.
Yeah.
And like maybe one or two notes, but that's like it, dude. Like I can't do a whole ass.
It just takes practice.
Yeah, I can't do like a whole ass lead. Like it's pretty cool, dude.
But also, I mean, like I said, it just takes practice to do that stuff. But also, you don't need to.
Yeah,
is the thing. You got two lead guitarists in there. Granted, I don't see any reason why you couldn't take leads every once in a while if you needed to.
Oh, dude, I'd fuck it up. I know 100%.
I
would mess it up so hard. I've tried to play leads just like myself before. And it's just not good. Like I can do it okay sitting down, but I play kind of like low.
Yeah.
And then my palm starts hitting strings while I'm trying to do stuff. So it starts strong, but quickly disintegrates into shit when I do it,
Right.
Yeah. I'm okay with it though. I know what I am. Mediocre. And I'm fine with that.
You're not mediocre.
I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it.
What's the best way to say it? You're doing something that literally no one asked for.
Yeah.
And you're hoping that someone's going to
it.
hear it and like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for instance, what's your favorite sketch of ours? Not the wrestling guys.
I was just going to say the wrestling guys. I've seen that a few times. What's the one? Oh, my God. I think y'all did it like a week ago or something like that.
What did we do?
You were shirtless, I think.
Wrestling guys.
Those wrestling guys.
I like those. I like those wrestling guys ones, man.
Have you seen how many wrestling guys have we done? 5?
Yeah.
Have you seen all 5 of them?
I think I've seen like 3, but like I like those. Those are funny.
We don't have many sketches that aren't the wrestling guys.
Yeah,
yet.
I just wanted to answer.
The wrestling guys are funny.
Yeah, just trying to, like I said, diversify.
Yeah.
I really truly want to end up where we actually have a guest, like a talk show.
Yeah.
Like we have a guest. That guest either we have them perform if we can, like in wherever we're at, or B, just have a clip of them performing. Maybe a music video for some people.
Yeah.
And then have sketches as well.
Yeah, dude, a lot of podcasts are doing more and more, like, inclusive is the wrong word. Broad things nowadays, you know what I mean?
Yeah, women are in podcasts left and right.
I love that word. Some people aren't into it. I find it so... You ever watch that show, Broad City? That was a
Broad
funny
City
show.
was so good.
It was such a good show.
I
But
thought they were bringing it back. I thought
I
we could
didn't-
use it again.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. I've been trying to, like, one time we were at practice and I told Andy that I was like, I'm gonna try to bring back the word macho. Like, we're gonna say that all the time. He looked at me dead in the face and was like, you can't bring that back. And I'm not a very woke person. He kind of is, you know. Not that he's woke, but he's like pretty sensitive to stuff, you know. Like, and I said, why not? Because I thought he was gonna. He goes, it never left, man.
It never left. Nice.
He was like so serious about it.
Why we don't need to bring Macho back? Because Macho Man lives in our.
Oh, exactly. He stopped the rapture.
He did stop the rapture.
He stopped the rapture.
He gave his life to save us from the rapture.
Yeah, he did. He stopped it. A beautiful man.
Speaking of that, I hate to bring this up. You said back in the day you were a fan of the Bray Wyatt and the family.
Yeah,
He
man.
passed away yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Huge bummer.
That is a bummer. He was only like 36 or something.
36.
God,
And
that sucks.
They still haven't released the cause of death, but it's pretty sad.
Yeah, that was because like I kind of fallen out of wrestling, but I was like dating this girl whose stepdad and her little brother were like really into it, and like go to her house, and that's when I first like saw when he was doing the Wyatt family stuff.
Yeah.
Where with the little lamp, and he was like talking and stuff, and I was like, that looks creepy. What's that? So I I like creepy shit. So I sat and watched him, and then he came out and they had like the lamb mask and all that stuff, and I was like, this is sick. Like, dude, this is really
some
cool.
Some of the first
looking.
stuff he did was really good.
It was cool, dude. But then when me and her stopped palling around, I kind of fell off of it. But anytime I watch wrestling, I watch it with you.
That's true.
Yeah, and I kind of do.
Since you've been dating.
Since we've been dating.
Yeah, official now. Right. Facebook official.
Facebook official. Right.
Right.
That's the thumbnail.
Right. But yeah, that sucks that he died, man.
It really does.
He was cool.
So listen, we've definitely given you a barrage of questions. Did you have anything that you wanted to pitch, like, reiterate about, the album, website? Do you have a website?
No, we just have we have all the social medias,
Sure.
You
have a link tree?
Tell us.
We don't have a link tree.
You got to put a link tree in your bios,
Yeah,
man.
we might have to do that. I'm really bad with social media stuff.
It's not hard to make one. I mean, shit, after this, we can show you.
All right. But we got a MySpace. We got
Do you really have a MySpace?
No. I just like to tell people we got a MySpace and a Friendster. I also like to tell people when we're playing shows that we're on Grindr as a band.
Right, yeah.
And Tinder and Farmers Only and Christian Mingle.
One of my favorite bits that you did on stage, I don't think very many people caught, but you kept saying that you were Louie and the Liars from insert horror movie city.
Yeah, I still do. I still do that. I haven't done that in a while because we kind of took a break playing shows, like finishing recording and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it was Haddington Field. Was it Illinois or Hadfield? Derry, Maine was another one I did. Yeah, I do different ones. I gotta find a new one soon because we got some shows coming up. I gotta find a couple of them. I think it is the 10th. Yeah, we got 2 shows that day, actually, on the 10th. We're playing at the fair in Odessa, and then we're at noon, and then at 7, we're playing at the Rose here in Midland. Yeah, that's full group. Yeah, that's full band.
So can you guys promise the crowd out here that you're going to make more effort to get the group working more?
Yeah.
So that we can see what you guys
definitely.
both claim you'd rather be doing?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can make that
And I
promise.
assure you that this is a friendly gesture to help kick my friends in their tuchus to get
Right.
them moving.
Yeah, no, we are. I'm lucky enough to where like Brian books most of our shows.
Right, yeah, and that is
you
really
know.
beneficial.
So like most of our shows, especially since the EP came out, have been full band. There,
Before I even reached out to the guys that do play with me sometimes, I did ask Brian. He did say that last night was specifically an acoustic show.
Yeah.
So there was that.
yeah. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
I
for
think
a
that's
sketch.
pretty much
Like,
yeah,
that's a good
is
sketch
yeah.
idea.
That is a
Don't
really good
steal
sketch.
that.
No, we're cutting that. Man. We're cutting that. Nobody's hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, that would be a really funny sketch.
All right. And I'm sorry I derailed you. Your @s on social media. Give them to us.
Okay. We have Instagram, Facebook. We have a YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube. We do. Yeah. I forgot about that.
On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Hmm.
All of the music services, right?
Yeah.
All of the music
Spotify, Apple Music.
Definitely. I'm always pushing Apple Music right now, not because I love Apple Music, but because Apple Music actually pays out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if whatever streaming service you have, listen to the Louie the Liars. If you have Apple Music, make sure you listen to us.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we have that video that just came out. We're gonna do another one soon, and that's pretty much it. We're playing the 10th, and I think also like the 16th for the Endless Horizons. We're doing like a benefit show for them.
Oh, it's
Yeah, that record store.
So we also want to just remind you guys that of course we like to pitch, of course we like to plug Louie and the Liars, but don't forget that we've got Jackson's Lost Cause sitting right here. If you're looking for an instrument, make sure you check out Jeremy Poly Guitars, #TrailerMade. And of course, if you're looking for some decor in the home, AudreyAdamsArt.com.
Make sure you check out BamBam-O-Rama's Twitch channel. We're changing our streaming schedule. 8:30 Tuesday nights, 2:30 Wednesday afternoon. That's Central Standard Time on both of those. Also, I don't know when he's streaming, but check out Kuru Zombie.
And of course, the people that have noticed, we are moving this podcast delivery time from old Sunday evening to now on Monday, 6 a.m. And then, of course, the video version, instead of just releasing them both to you back to back, we're going to still extend that to the next day. So following that on Tuesdays at 6 a.m. as well, you'll get the video.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Louie.
Thank you for having me, dude. It was
This
fun.
episode has been sponsored by... No, thanks, Louie. We really
Thanks, dude.
appreciate
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank y'all for listening. We love y'all.
We love y'all. Do you love them, Louie?
Very much. Oh, no, I just met him.
Why don't you
Are you scared? It's okay.
I'm scared to let people in. That's why I'm a musician, because I don't know how to process my feelings.